Welcome to Soccer in 60, presented by the Empire Strykers. Get ready for your weekly look at all the pro soccer teams in Greater Los Angeles. We've got all the news and analysis you need, from LAFC and the LA Galaxy to the Empire Strykers, Angel City FC, and Orange County Soccer Club. Now, buckle up and enjoy Soccer in 60.
Hey, good to see you again, Philly. Hey, everybody out there in Radio Land and on YouTube checking out the podcast. It's good to have you along with us today. We got a great show today. We've got with the El Tráfico looming, we've got a great interview with LAFC defender Erik Dueñas. Philly and Panda caught up with him earlier this afternoon. Panda also joins us again for the Angel City preview. We've got rosters being set for USA-Mexico indoor match here coming up on September 29th. And then Orange County is back in action after a much-needed weekend off. Philly, my man, it's Thirsty Thursday. How are you, pal?
What's going on, Tim? And hello to everybody joining us. Your favorite Thursday afternoon soccer podcast is back in action. And Tim, do I have something to show you that you're going to appreciate? Get a load of today's glassware. Yeah. Now, what we have in it, I'll leave to your imagination. But either way, happy to be back with you, my friend.
Fantastic. And cheers to you, sir. Hey, you know, it is September 12th, right? And so yesterday was September 11th. Now, Philly, you've got a unique perspective on this because you were actually in the city that day, were you not?
Yeah, it's wild. It was 23 years ago. So back then, I worked in IT. My address for the office was 1250 Broadway, which is a block away from the Empire State Building. So I got into work that morning only to hear about a plane hitting the World Trade Center. And my initial cynical New York self was like, what a schmuck. Why was he flying so low? Unbeknownst to me that it was a jetliner. And then obviously we see the second one hit. We see the towers fall down. And I got to tell you, New York, like the movie Independence Day, that's what it reminded me of. It was really scary. I remember taking the first train back from Manhattan to Queens. We were all underground. At that point, there was no cell phone reception. I remember there was a businessman in a briefcase that clearly walked from downtown, covered completely in soot. Everybody said nothing, which is not normal for a time on the subway. We're thinking, God forbid, they start bombing the train tunnels. Like, we're in there. At that point, it was just wild. But the thing I learned from it, sadly enough, is like, you know, you never know what tomorrow is going to bring. So if there's anything that you want to do or anything looming, get on it immediately. My heart goes out to the first responders and obviously everybody who lost their lives. That was such a crazy day.
Yeah, and I remember it pretty well too. And you know, it's a good day to remember and always remember it. So let's get into it. Let's get into some footy and let's you know, I talked about it at the top of the show. We've got El Tráfico looming. You know, we've got the 24th edition of this coming right up, and it's going to be a heck of a show this weekend.
Yeah, the 24th edition, like you said, 9-9-5 is the record. A lot of interesting storylines that we can focus on. There's so much to talk about, and like you said, we did an interview with Erik Dueñas at the earlier this day, Panda and I. So we're going to hear about his thoughts on it. But without a doubt, this is the best rivalry in Major League Soccer. It's so exciting. Hell is Real might be one of the newer ones. The Cascadia Cup might be one of the older ones. But this is the best one.
Yeah, this is for sure the best one. You know, you can look at those other ones. You know, you talked about the Cascadia Cup, and that one's super fun. But the El Tráfico, I think it's got the best name out of all of them as well. I mean, it just makes me laugh and giggle every time I see it. And then, you know, when you can put 70,000 fans in like they did in July for the last time they played this game, just absolutely fantastic to be part of it.
70,076 to be precise, which is actually a bit less than they had the year prior, but all things considered, an amazing crowd.
Yeah, so you know what? Let's get into that interview, Philly. You know, you and Panda got to talk with Erik. Let's get after it.
All right. Back with the interview portion of our show, and with the best rivalry in Major League Soccer on the horizon, it just made sense to bring in a player from one of the two sides that will be competing in the highly anticipated 24th edition of El Tráfico. At 19, while most of us were still trying to figure out life, in my case, the difference between detergent and fabric softener, our guest spent several years as a professional athlete and is as LAFC as you can possibly be. Hailing from right here in the LA area, he became a member of the club's academy at age 11, signing a homegrown contract at age 15 and appearing in an MLS game before he turned 16 as the youngest player in LAFC history to do so. And oh, by the way, the third youngest in MLS history. He's also a U13 CONCACAF Champions League winner, and not to mention the fact that he's gotten a look from Mexico's youth national team program. Joining us now, the pride of El Monte, California, Erik Dueñas. Erik, welcome to Soccer in 60.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys for having me.
Really excited to have you. Let's get right into it. Erik, at 19, you continue to play a significant role with the LAFC's first team, having appeared in 13 games and counting this season. And by the way, with a stunning pass accuracy of 91.5%. Now, how have you been feeling this season, and how's it going in terms of your expectations?
LAFC is my home, and it will always be home for me. So I feel so comfortable with everyone in this team, in this club, the whole organization, which makes it easier for me and makes it more comfortable for me. But this year, it has been going well, getting minutes every time as a youngster. Every time you get minutes, you want to give it your all, give it your 110%, leave everything on the field. And that's what I've been doing since I signed with the first team. I think this year has been great, and now we're looking forward to Saturday game against our rivals.
As is the rest of the nation, if not the global landscape. Now, let's real quick. Let's go back to Houston. You subbed in that 0-0 draw back at Shell Energy Stadium in MLS play, and you made that impact, helping secure the draw. In looking back, what's your analysis of the team's performance, and what do you feel you guys can build on for this Saturday's clash against the Galaxy?
Yes, I think it was a very tactical plan that the coaching staff assigned to us, and I think we did very well. I think we played the way we planned it, and going in at the 80th minute, 10 minutes left, I think all you want to do is secure a point, and if possible, then get the 3 points. But most importantly, make sure you don't get scored on. So I think coming in, I just wanted to we defended, wanted to keep the ball, and then fortunately we came out with the point.
Yeah, you did, and what a way to go into this big rivalry on Saturday. We're all looking forward to it, as I'm sure you guys are as well. But let's shift gears just a little bit. One of the teams that we cover on this show is Orange County SC of the USL Championship. We often talk about their work in developing the young players, the fact that they've sent several of their prospects to Europe. And you also have a background in the USL Championship, having been loaned to the Las Vegas Lights in 21 and 22. What's it like playing in that league versus, say, MLS Next Pro with LAFC too? And how do you feel that both have benefited your growth on and off the field?
Yeah, no, the USL is a very competitive league with players that have played in the MLS. And I think that helps the league grow. And as of youngsters, I think, like I said, youngsters, all we want to do is play, get some minutes and develop. I think that's the most important thing. And I think the Next Pro, that's what they're focusing on developing players, developing young players coming from the academy to Next Pro, and then hopefully to the first team. So I think it's a huge step, and it has helped me a lot. Whether if I don't get minutes with the first team, I could go play with Next Pro and stay fit. And I think that's very important.
Yeah, it definitely is, and fun to watch players develop from that league and make it onto bigger stages. Now into 2021, let's go back just a little bit. While on loan with Las Vegas in the USL, you tore your ACL and MCL, and that's a pretty devastating injury and fairly unusual for a teenager. You were 16 years old at the time and needed about 12 months to work your way back to the field. Can you talk to us a little bit about what that experience was like, and how do you feel it has changed you as a player and as a person?
Yes, of course. I think looking back at 2021, it was a tough year for me, but I am grateful that that had happened, because I think if it wasn't for that injury, I wouldn't have been as professional as I am right now. I think it's made a huge impact. And yeah, back in 2021, I was, like you said, 16 years old. I was not expecting that. I think nobody expects that to happen. But, I think once I got the notice, I kind of changed my mindset of it. And, starting from day one, trying to get better, physically as well as mentally, because mentally it is tough to go through that injury. And I think now I see that, for example, I stretch after every single training. I try to do lower body gym, so I do these things off the pitch that before this injury I don't think, or I didn't do, and I don't think I would continue to do.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, as teenagers, I think we all feel like we're kind of invincible. And I think that kind of helps to remind you that, we do have to take care of ourselves. And you've done a great job so far doing that since that injury.
Thank you.
Now, Erik, you're from El Monte, about 20 miles east of BMO Stadium in downtown LA. When LAFC entered MLS play in 2018, you were 13. You had already been a member of the LAFC Academy since age 11 and signed a homegrown contract with the club in 2020 at 15. You appeared in your first MLS game before age 16. Talk about what LAFC means to you and what it's like playing in your home region. And does your whole family bleed black and gold? Do they show up for every home game?
Yeah, LFC has my heart for sure. Yeah, all my family is black and gold. My little kids, they grew up going to my academy games, and now they're going to the BMO to support the first team, and it's incredible. I think they even feel the colors in them, and I love seeing that. No, yeah, from El Monte, I think, and from the academy, I think the hardest point was to trust the process, because the stadium wasn't even done, this facility wasn't even done. So I think, a lot of players didn't trust the process, or didn't think that LFC would go through. And my dad is the one that helped me to be like, you know what, we have to stick with it, we have to stay here, because I feel something good, and it turned out to be great for me.
That's awesome. Speaking of family, you kind of touched upon that. Now, you grew up as one of 4 children, all of them boys, 1 older, 2 younger than you. If you don't mind, take us inside the experience of growing up with 3 brothers. Did you guys all play soccer? Were you guys competitive? What was life like in the Dueñas household?
Yes, I think I have an older brother and then 2 younger brothers. So I grew up with my older brother, and then 10 years after, my 2 younger brothers were born. So I didn't really spend that much of a time with my younger brothers. But as of me and my older brother, we are very competitive. My dad played soccer, so he brought the sport into our lives. We used to go watch him play, and now he took us to a team in El Monte, actually. And yeah, from there, I think it's having a brother, there's fights, love. It's like a sibling relationship, and he has made me a very competitive person, because since we were young, we were always trying to win each other, whether in anything, honestly. And that has helped me to build my competitiveness. And yeah, it's fantastic.
That's awesome.
Erik, we've already touched upon the upcoming El Tráfico clash with the Galaxy, and obviously your roots with LAFC. Now, given your unique background, what does this game mean to you? Like, do you feel, or do you think you're going to feel any butterflies when you wake up on Saturday morning? Like, talk to us a little bit about, your feelings going into Saturday's game.
Yes, El Tráfico, ever since in the academy, I knew these games were big. And now with the first team, all we want to do is win these games. These games are so important to us, and we believe that there's only one team in LA, and it's black and gold LAFC. And I think heading into this game this week, you can notice the change in the players, and we're ready for it. We're ready for the task, and we're ready to to do our best at Carson.
Man, leading up to these games, I think we all feel a little bit of those butterflies, and but we know you guys are going to hold it down. We can't wait to watch that game. Now, I know for a lot of American kids like you who grew up in a family of Mexican descent, that plays an important role in your lives. Now, you've participated in a training camp with Mexico's U17 program back in 2021. Have you given any thought to your dual identity and which country you could see yourself representing at the youth and senior levels? And how do your family members feel about it?
Yeah, I have not. I mean, honestly, in 2021, when I went with the Mexican national team, my family was very happy. They were all super grateful that I had the opportunity to go there. And I think as of now, I don't have one specific choice or decision that I would make. I think right now I'm just focused here in the club, and let's see what happens.
Love it. Yep. I think it would be an honor either way for you to represent either. And we would definitely support that decision no matter what.
Yes. Thank you so much.
And again, Erik, thank you so much for your time. I mean, we don't have any further questions. Just coming from the vantage point of having followed the club since its infancy, seeing you from where you were to where you are now, it's been a joy. Keep on progressing, and good luck the rest of the season.
Thank you guys so much for having me.
Thank you.
Have a good one. Erik Dueñas, LAFC. Good luck against the Galaxy.
Dude, I'm fired up to go play with him now as well, man. He was great. Nice job on that, Philly and Panda.
Yes, thank you. I mean, he's as OG as it gets. I mean, I don't want to say he was before Carlos Vela, certainly outlasted Carlos Vela, but I mean, he may seem like a rookie to most, but he's worn black and gold for practically his entire life. So it's amazing seeing where he came up. It was him, Christian Torres, and Tony Leone that came up from the youth academy. And out of all those players, it's just Erik that's still here.
Yeah, and it's a testament to not only him, but also to the club that, you know, when you sign that homegrown player that he's been with the club for so long, you know, before the stadium's even built, and then he blows out his knee, and then they get right on him, they fix him up, they keep him up, and now he's getting, like you said, 13 game appearances this season alone. I mean, that's pretty amazing that only a year after he's back to full fitness that he's crushing it at 19 years old. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. Now we should start talking about the derby that's going to be coming up on Saturday. But I just want to give a quick recap. LAFC did play the Houston Dynamo at Shell Energy Stadium. As a reminder, that was a game that was rescheduled from July 7th, courtesy of Hurricane Beryl that took over. So FYI on that. LAFC was without 7 of their regulars, including 4 players, in that of Matty Bogusz, Denny Bouanga, David Martinez, and Kike Oliveira. Between these 4 players that I mentioned, they have scored 35 of the club's 48 goals this season. That's 73% of LAFC's regular season goals. That was not there. And oh, by the way, Jesus David Murillo couldn't play because he was hurt. I mean, they were without so many of their players. But who they did have, Hugo Lloris got the start in between the pipes. He is now the only LAFC player to have started in all 26 of LAFC's regular season matchups. And between him, Kai Kamara, who turned 40 on Sunday, this past Sunday, and of course, Olivier Giroud, LAFC became the first team in MLS history to start 3 players aged 37 or older, which is kind of wild. And oh, by the way, shout out to Eddie Segura, who appeared in his 104th game all time for LAFC. Not going to talk too much about this game, folks, because it was a 0-0 draw. The only thing I'm going to highlight out of the first half, in the dying moments with 5 minutes of stoppage, LAFC nearly drew the first punch. They had great ball movement, and Ryan Hollingshead did do something that LAFC hadn't done in about 135 minutes, and that's get one past Dynamo keeper Steve Clark, but it was ruled offside. And that's it. That's really it. That's all I can tell you. It was a huge point on the road. LAFC moved within 4 points of the Galaxy in the Western Conference. The draw, believe it or not, extends LAFC's unbeaten streak in the league, road unbeaten streak, I should say, to 7 games. Hugo Lloris gets his 10th shutout. LAFC 10th regular season shutout this season, one shy of a club record. And only keepers Tyler Miller and Maxime Crépeau have more shutouts in MLS regular season games than Hugo Lloris, who's only played in 26. That's it. Now we got to start previewing the highly anticipated 24th edition of El Tráfico, Tim.
Woo, El Tráfico. Now, this is going to be a great match. And we've talked about this, and we're going to get into it super deep. But the reality is, while it's been 9-9-5 in these last 23 appearances, the biggest thing is the home team has been very dominant. You look at this, and you look at the Galaxy. The Galaxy hold, when they're the home team, they're 7-2-2, and they've outscored LAFC by 8 goals in those 11 matches. So when you're at Dignity Sports, or they're classified as the home team with, in other competitions other than MLS, the Galaxy have been pretty dominant at home. And this week they're in Carson. They're at the Digs, at the Dignity Sports Health Park. And you look at that and you try and figure out why. We talk a lot of tactics. We talk a lot of strategy. Let's just talk about pure brute strength through the midfield for the Galaxy. The Galaxy have just got a stronger midfield. And with the addition of Marco Royce, LAFC is going to be in trouble because they haven't seen much of Royce except on tape. And you put him with Pooch, and then you got Paintsill, who wants to get back on the score sheet because he hasn't scored in a while, since a League's Cup game against Chivas, and that's a long time ago. So through that midfield and up on that right wing, I think LAFC is going to be in trouble.
Oh, shots fired! You really think so? You really think so? I mean, look,
I do, sir.
They have a good midfield. There's no question about it, and they have a really good team. There's a reason that they're in first place right now, Tim. But let's not forget about the fact that they are going to be without one of their key cogs in this machinery of this well-oiled Galaxy machine. There's going to be no Joseph Paintsill. So that's going to be a huge Achilles heel for the LA Galaxy. And let's also not forget, the reason they are in first place is because they have a couple games on hand. Because they played a couple more games than LAFC has.
Yeah, because I forgot about that, because he's on yellow card accumulation. We had mentioned that last week. But so it might be another game before he can score. But, the reality is you're going to put some of these other guys like Miguel Berry up front. And, you got Joveljic, who leads the team in goals with 12. You're going to have these guys. You got Pack and Pooch. And, I think it's going to be a very classic game. I mean, you said it earlier when we were talking pre-show, they're Der Klassiker. But it's going to be a rip-roaring game. I'm looking forward to it, and get out. And there's not too many seats left. I was checking online today, and there's not you're looking at another sold-out show for this game.
I mean, it has to be sold out. I mean, people are trying to make money to pay off season tickets off this game alone. Again, the 24th edition. I will say this, Galaxy have been far more successful while at home. There's been 11 all-time home matches played across all competitions between Open Cup, et cetera, et cetera. The Galaxy do hold a 7-2-2 record. In that time, Tim, 24 goals for, 16 goals allowed. So, yes, like you said, a dominant team. And we'll be expecting a great performance by both. We should see a lot of goals. I think statistically, they've averaged a little over 4.2 goals per match in all the 23 matchups prior to that. So it should be a good one. But a couple other key stats for you, Tim. LAFC's beat the Galaxy in their last 6 or 7 meetings. Last Galaxy win at the Rose Bowl last year. And in addition, if LAFC goes into Dignity Health Sports Park and wins, it'll be the first time that there's ever been a season series sweep between the two. And then, that storyline's compelling. Giroud versus Royce is compelling. Number 1 versus number 2 is compelling. I mean, this is the first time both teams have been as successful as they currently are going into this kind of a matchup. Galaxy up on top, LAFC looking at them from the bottom, but obviously the black and gold are going to do what they can to upset the home crowd and send everybody in Carson back crying.
Yeah, that's
including yourself, I would imagine.
Yeah, exactly. Because I want to see, what I really want to see. I want to see this game be a tight, fun match. I want to see it be a 3-2. I want to see it be a 4-3 match. I want to see some goals. And like you said, if LAFC comes in and beats them, that's one. Like we've talked about a lot, winning on the road is exceedingly difficult in this league. But 2, to win a series win the season series. That's never happened. So to be able to have the Galaxy have that type of thing, they're on a roll. They've played really well in the past, the whole season, and they just crush people at home. I don't think they're going to lose this game. But like you said, you have Hugo Lloris come up big. You have, some of the LAFC guys come through, and, you put that together. It's a clash you can't be missing. I know that you're going to be at the game, so I'm looking forward to it, and it's going to be a fantastic matchup this weekend.
Absolutely. And that's all anybody's going to talk about. But since we're not going to have another show until after it happens, both teams are going to be playing on Wednesday. So we'll quickly preview that. I'll go into LAFC's game against Austin. Tim's going to cover Galaxy momentarily. Like I said, on the 18th, it's going to be a quick turnaround after Saturday. LAFC hosts Austin at home, who are 7 points right now outside of the playoff picture. LAFC did beat them in LA during a Leagues Cup game 2-0 on August the 7th. During a regular season game on 8/24, they were successful against Nashville. Austin, and then they lost their last regular season game against Vancouver. But they'll be playing Toronto FC on Saturday, and that'll be an interesting contest up in Canada. Players to look out for, of course, O'Brien, who is got 5 goals on the season. Sebastian Driussi, who's been a stud ever since he's put on an Austin kit, 5 goals. Diego Rubio, I know for the Galaxy supporters out there, for anybody who supports local LA soccer players, Jossie Zardes is going to, he's got 3 goals. John Gallagher. I mean, this is a good team that's going to be fighting for playoff contention, and it should be a good match. Again, both teams coming off a short rest. LAFC's taking them on. Let's talk about who the Galaxy are taking on Wednesday, Tim.
Yeah, they're taking on one of our favorite teams to talk about. They're taking on the Portland Timbers.
The pesky pine trees of Portland.
Pesky, I like to call them the pesky pine cones. But
that works too.
It's they will be playing up in Portland. They're going to be playing at Providence Park in downtown Portland. And the Galaxy lead the series against these guys 15-13-9. So it's been pretty tight. And they won the last time out 3-2 in Carson. So Portland's is in the playoff hunt. And as of today, depending on when you're listening to us, they sit in 8th place in the West, about 12 points behind the Western Conference leaders, LA Galaxy. And Portland does play on the road against this weekend. So they're both good. They both got matches this weekend. Portland plays in Colorado. They gotta travel out to the Mile High City, and they're gonna have a tough game against Colorado. So when they come back, the Galaxy won't have had to travel. All they'll have to do is take that quick flight up to Portland. And I'm looking for that to be a really fun matchup because, again, it'll be a very good game after another very good game with LAFC. So the Galaxy get up to Portland, and I think they're going to put the wood to the Timbers.
They're going to put the wood to the Timbers, not the axe to the Timbers. Wood on wood. All right. Okay. Cheers. Yeah, another drink on Thirsty Thursday.
Right? Well, we can hit them with an axe. Why not? Chop them down, put them in their place. No, I think it's going to be fun. I think the Galaxy are going to go do it. And I think the Galaxy are going to I think the Galaxy win that game. I know it's tough to play on the road, but I think they win that game 3-1.
All right. Okay. All right. So hold on. That was your prediction for Portland 3-1?
Yeah, that's the Portland game. So let's get after the LA Galaxy LAFC. What do you think,
All right,
buddy?
yeah. So give me your prediction for that. Is it going to be over and under the average of 4.2 goals per game? What do you think? And what's your prediction?
It's a 5-goal game. I think it's 3-2.
5-goal game. Okay, who wins?
I think the Galaxy get it done. I think the Galaxy get it done at home. I just think LAFC coming in, they're going to be all fired up. But the Galaxy didn't play. They've had a week off. They've got some rest. They can work on their injuries. I think they get it done. I think they win 3-2.
I will take the 3-2, and I will go for the over of 4.2. So I'm with you there. LAFC sweeps the season series. Everybody comes back from international duty, in particular, Matty Bogusz, for having gotten his first start in his first cap with Poland. All fired up. LAFC wins at Dignity Health Sports Park 3-2.
Well, there you go. You heard it from Philly first. You heard it from me first, but Philly took LAFC. So let's move on to the Strikers and a little MASL talk. There's not a lot happening with the Strikers because it is the off season, but there is a big match coming up here at the end of the month on the 29th here at Toyota Arena out here in Ontario. Let's get after it, Philly.
Yeah, September 29th at Toyota Arena. It's the annual USA versus Mexico friendly. The rosters for the women, at least on the U.S. side, I saw them on social media. So that is out. We're going to see the likes of Lauren Sesselman, who is an Olympic bronze medalist, having played for Team Canada, a Purdue University Hall of Famer. She's going to be competing. Alexis Catt, who played professionally for the Memphis Americans, is going to be there, which is great. That's going to be on the women's side. It's a doubleheader. So if you're buying your tickets, it's going to be for 2 games, women and men. And the men, they're going to feature Marco Fabian and Miguel Ponce on the Mexican side. And then on the U.S. side, Breck Shea was announced. That'll be fun. And then you've got the person who was tied with the Marco Fabian for the Golden Boot from the Kansas City Comets, Zach Reggett. Look, it's going to be a great game. It always is. It was 6-5 last time, down to the wire. USA came back from a deficit of 3-1. It'll be fun. I'll be on the call. Tim will be in the stands. We hope y'all will be there. Tickets are between $20 and $40, give or take. Let's see you at Toyota Arena. It'll be a darn good time. Indoor soccer is where it's at. And then keep an eye and an ear open. The MASL season is right around the corner. The combine in Oceanside, San Diego is going to take place. The schedule will be announced, and we hope to see you at Toyota Arena. And we're going to have so much Empire Strykers stuff to talk about. Players, player interviews. I can't wait to get back to indoor soccer. I love indoor soccer.
Yeah, it's going to be great. This is going to be a really good season. If y'all hop over to theempirestrikers.com and you pick up a season ticket package, there's season ticket packages, and part of that is that you get a Empire Strikers jersey. So you can rep the colors while you're sitting down low watching one of the fastest sports on around. Indoor soccer, man, is super fun. Let's get after it, and let's get to see you out at the Toyota Arena, not only for the USA Mexico, but also for season seats with the Empire Strikers.
And that's Strikers with a Y. Y is in Yankee, just an FYI, because I don't know what domain you're going to get redirected to if you misspell it. I've gone to a couple of domains after misspelling things. It could be kind of Irie. Thirsty Thursday. Tiki Cup. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't want you to go. We got to go to the right one. Strikers with a Y, the Empire Strikers. And with that, we're going to head on over, and we're going to talk a little Angel City FC with Amanda the Panda. Amanda, how are we doing today?
I'm doing great. You got your tiki mug up there. I see. I've got my Scream mug because, man,
this
match I'm about to talk about, boy, was there a lot of that. So I can't wait to get into it for sure. So, but yeah, happy to be here, guys. Happy to talk about Angel City. So let's go. Let's get right into it. All right. So if you watched last week's show, you know that we said that this is going to be a high-scoring game, and boy, were we right. Unfortunately, though, VAR would decide otherwise, as Angel City lost this matchup 2-3 at home last Friday to the Seattle Reign, following goals by forwards Alyssa Thompson and Sydney Leroux, and then defender Sofia Huerta, midfielder Ji So-Yun, and forward Ziara King scored for Seattle. Now, this game started off with a bang for Angel City, and after being pinned into their defensive third in the early minutes of the game, Angel City opened the scoring in the 8th minute. Forward Sydney Leroux, she was able to win the ball in the midfield, send a diagonal pass to Thompson. She made the run up the left, where Thompson was able to dribble into the box, burst past her mark, and send a close-range angled shot past goalkeeper Claudia Dickey and into the back of the net. Alyssa Thompson is feeling herself right now, and we are here for it. And then in the 31st minute, unfortunately, Seattle defender Sofia Huerta, she is going to go and step up into the penalty box because, Didi Hericic came out on a very, very bad challenge that sent her to the penalty spot. And Well, she's not going to be able to save this one, folks. They are going to go up 1-1. Jordan Huitema stepped up and able to bury that one into the back of the net. And after VAR looked at this one, because originally it was not called, it was deemed that it was a foul. But Didi Haracic, she would kind of make up for that, if I could say so, because she had quite a few saves. The rain continued to just kind of work their way into the as the half went on. And again, Haracic able to step up and made some real clutch saves. This game could have gotten out of hand real fast, but she kind of kept us in it. In the 51st minute, unfortunately, Huitema, she headed across by defender Shea Holmes down into the middle of the box where G scooped up the ball, beating her mark to place her shot just inside the near post to put Seattle ahead going into the break. It looked like Didi was kind of screened off the ball and kind of hard to see it because all it took was a nice little soft lob to find the back of the net. Now, the visitors, they are going to come out of the half and notch what would end up being the game winner in the 59th minute when Sina Gorcevic sent a cross from the right corner of the 18-yard box into the run of King near the far post, where she one-timed it past Haracic and into the back of the net. But that's not where it's going to end, everybody, because, well, this game had everything. It had VAR, it had penalty kicks, it had called back goals, and it had drama, unfortunately, and it would not go the way that Angel City wanted it to. You know, the hosts, Angel City, were able to score, but they had their goal pulled back following a video review in the 67th minute. It was a corner kick play where LaRue sent a pass to defender Ime Vignola. She hit the back of the net on a low shot from the edge of the 18, but LaRue was ruled offside, and a lot of us had us shaking our heads. The people on the broadcast were also very confused on what happened because the way it played out was that Jasmine Spencer was actually fouled at the top of the box, but allowed to play the advantage. But in this case, it wasn't really an advantage because the ball was played to an offside player. And that's kind of where it all took shape. And I think everybody was hoping in that case that the advantage wouldn't have been allowed to be played. Maybe we would have got that free kick instead. Could have turned out differently. And then ACFC is going to have a second goal pulled back following a review in the 85th minute. You're going to see Doherty Howard serve a long ball into the box. It took several bounces, but the rain failed to clear. It rolled to Madison Hammond near the edge of the 6-yard box. Hammond sent it inside the far post, but her goal was nullified following review for a foul on the play by, again, LaRue, unfortunately. And let me tell you, this one is tough because it looked just like two people fighting for position. And they even said they're not even sure if it would have been called a foul if it was anywhere else on the pitch. And it took the ref a while to decide that it was clear and obvious. And I think we have a lot of problems with that. If it's clear and obvious, you call it. And I don't know, I've got some thoughts on this that maybe on Angel City Chicks later, if we have more time, we may dive into how we think that this might play out. But again, this whole arena was just, they were saying some things that I probably shouldn't say on this podcast because they would not be family friendly, but definitely hot to know that 2 goals had been already called back. The score at this point is, 3-1 at this time, and it could have been easily tied. And guess what? Angel City finally did get one back in the 99th minute. We've got Vignola linking up once again with Sydney LaRue in that penalty area, able to head the ball over to Dickie's head and into the net. And the way LaRue hit the ball with her head, you could tell she was fired up. At this moment, this game should have ended 4-3 in a lot of people's opinion, but that is not how it went. Angel City does fall to the Seattle Reign at 3-2, but man, there are games out there that sometimes you win ugly and they don't feel good, and sometimes the ones that you lose ugly, you feel like you should, you could have won, you should have won. This is one of those because shots were pretty dead even, 13-12, with both of them having 7 on target. Angel City had lion's share of possession with 63%. They had 547 passes, more than 200 more than Seattle, with pass accuracy of 82%, even on fouls. And, it just was really, really hard. I think this one is going to take some time for Angel City to get over because they fought so hard after being, having goals stripped away from them and having to endure, penalty situations being called. It was just, they kept in it. And I'm so proud of them for doing that and making this game far more competitive than it needed to be. And good on them. A lot of thoughts on this. And I would really like to unpack a whole lot more than what I did on here, but we'll leave it at that. Join us over on Angel City Chicks later if you'd like to, hear us rant and rave about what we really think about it, because it would take a whole podcast or a whole show to really break down how that game made us all feel. Now, I want to go ahead and get into the next part of this, which is our preview game, because we are going to be heading to the Midwest. We're going to be taking on Racing Louisville Saturday, September 14th at 4:30 Pacific time. This match will stream live on ION, and then you can also listen on the radio with coverage on iHeart. So let's get into a little bit about what to expect here. Now, the matches ups between these two teams are Angel City's kind of got a bit of the edge here. They've got 2 wins, whereas Racing Louisville has 1, and then they have shared a draw in this matchup. Now, they are both fighting for playoff spots, so they're going to all be coming out with a vengeance in this matchup. The last time that these two faced up was June 19th, where Angel City was able to pull out the win 3-2. And then in their prior 3 matchups, they've had 2 draws, and Racing Louisville had their last win back in this 2022 season. A couple of things to know about these teams is that each of them have scored at least in all 5 meetings with each other. So there have not been a game between these two that has gone 0-0 or either team not scoring. So 3 of the 5 meetings have seen each team score multiple goals, including the one I just mentioned back on June 19th, where Angel City had 3 and Racing Louisville had 2. Like I said, they are both going to be fighting for playoff positions. And in this 1-0 loss that Louisville just suffered to Bay FC, it's kind of interesting to mention that they committed 3 fouls and 0 yellow cards. And it's the only time this season that an NWSL team has been called for 3 or fewer fouls and no cards in a match. So not sure they're playing as aggressive as they really need to. I don't know if they're playing like a team that is really fighting for a spot in the playoffs. And I hope that Angel City may be able to take advantage of that, come out and see if they can be pretty aggressive. Now, Alyssa Thompson, she has scored, as I said, she is feeling herself right now. She has scored 4 goals in her last 3 matches, 2 with her left foot, 2 with her right foot, and at 19 years and 304 days old on Friday, she becomes the youngest player to have a 3-game span with multiple goals from both her right and her left foot. Sophia Smith was the previous youngest at 21 years old. So she's definitely got that goal on lock. Now, we also want to keep an eye out for Ime Vignola and that Sydney LaRue link up, because it has been on fire between these two. So we're going to see them probably being marked pretty heavily. But those two can get it together. But what I really want to say is I think this would be the perfect game for Kristen Press to get her first regular season goal since that injury in June of 2022. Because if you don't remember, that injury happened in Louisville against Racing Louisville a little over 2 years ago. And I think it would be an amazing little story if she could get her first regular season goal against the team where she tore her ACL more than 2 years ago. Now, I talked about playoffs. I want to give you guys a little bit of a playoff picture about where we're sitting at. I mean, Angel City is literally right below that playoff line. The top 8 teams are going to the playoffs. They're sitting right at 9. A win could put them above that mark, depending on what other teams do. Racing Louisville sitting in 11th place, just 2 points below us. So for them, this is a must-win match. For us, it's a must-win match, and it's going to be one where they're going to duke it out. I cannot wait. We've got 2 huge matchups this weekend. I think you guys had mentioned it. LAFC and Galaxy rivalry week is here, and then we've got Angel City heading to the Midwest to take on Racing Louisville. Lots of at stake, guys. Soccer season, it's heating up, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's on fire. Just like Southern California is on fire. Yikes.
Oh, geez. Arsonists. Speaking of fire, though, first off, Panda, great job on the recap and the preview, as always. You are all things Angel City, along with Nina Kiefer, who will be on the pod at some point. But there's I got to recognize you real quick. For those that are listening to the show, Amanda is a co-host along with Nina Kiefer for the Angel City Chicks podcast, covering all things Angel City, but she's also a huge fan as well. And she's also always at BMO Stadium. She was recently honored on the pitch this Friday as the fan of the match. She's got Yamaha points. We might have a photo of that.
It's Yamava. Just so you know, I didn't win a motorcycle.
Oh, no motorcycles. You're right. No motorcycles. Darn, I've always wanted one. Yamava, you got some points, but I think we have a photo from your fan appreciation.
Oh, no.
Just waiting on that one. I know you're terrified because you don't know what photo I would choose. You know that I always choose the worst ones of you, but have no fear. It's Nina that chose it. Hey, look at that.
Hey, look at that.
Stand on the Jumbotron.
Hey, that's me. You know, they were talking about community heroes that night. And for those of you that don't know, I'm a nurse and also a combat veteran from the United States Army. So they took that time to honor me. So I really appreciate that. It was such an honor and everything. So thank you.
That was awesome. And, let me be the first one on today's show to tell you, thank you for your service. It's pretty awesome. So, and with that, let's hop over to Orange County. Orange County is back in action after having a nice long weekend off. They didn't play last weekend, and they're coming back to the Champ in Irvine this weekend. And you better get your tickets because I checked this morning, and the tickets are down less than 100 seats left as of this morning. So if you don't get them by tonight, you might not get into the game. So Orange County welcomes in Rhode Island. And a quick fun fact, Rhode Island is the smallest state in the union at just 1,214 square miles. So to give us here in LA, in the greater LA area, a little perspective, LA County is over 4,700 square miles. So, 2 or 3 of Rhode Island's could fit inside of LA County. Kind of nutty. But you know what? Back to soccer. Rhode Island comes in sitting in 7th place in the East with 37 points. But here's the interesting fact. They have the exact same number of wins as Orange County does with just 8. The major difference is that Rhode Island leads the USL Championship with 13 ties, 9 more than Orange County. And that's exactly 9 more points than Orange County has. Rhode Island is also led by the reigning USL Championship MVP and Golden Boot winner, Chico. Everybody else can call him Albert Dequa. But Chico is leading the team with 7 goals, and the team is led in assists by Noah Fuson with 6. The key here is that they're just 4-4-6 on the road. And Orange County plays reasonably well at home. They're 5-6-1. So it's going to be a pretty even match, even though Orange County comes in at just 0-4-1 in their last 5 games. And Rhode Island is 2-1-2. But the trick to Rhode Island to get all the way out here to Orange County is not an easy one. It's a couple of transfers on flight. So here's the thing. If Orange County, who sits in 9th place just outside of the playoff window, can get back in the win column with some of their stars like Ethan Zubak coming in, who leads the team with 6 goals. He can come through like he did last time out in that fantastic first 20 minutes that Danny Stone had these guys playing. Coach Danny Stone can have these guys playing, and Thomas Among, who's back from injury, can get back into fitness. And they can start feeding guys like Bryce Jamison out on the right wing. They can send Rhode Island on a very long plane flight home. The other thing they're going to need to do is they're going to really need to shore up the defense. We've talked about this previously about tactics and their wingback structure and things like that. And Danny Stone had them come out in a 4-4-2 formation this last time out. If they can have one of their midfielders fall back into the defense when their wingbacks run up on the right-hand side, particularly, if they can get one of their midfields from the centers or one of their left midfielders to fall back to the defense, they can make that solid. So in case there's a turnover in the attacking third, that they don't get beat by that long ball. That's one of the things that did them in last time out. They, especially on that third goal, they sent a deep ball along to the far right side of the defense, and an unfortunate deflection, and Orange County took the L on this last time out. But if they can kind of shore that up, this is definitely a game that Orange County can win. The game is at Championship Stadium in Irvine at 7:00. And if you can't get to the game, it's going to be on Valley Sports. It's going to be on ESPN Plus. And, Coach Stone has got these guys. He's had an extra week of practice. They didn't have a game last week. So I think what's going to happen with these guys is that they're going to get in shape. They're going to get in fitness. They're going to be listening to Coach Stone and really understand what they're going to have to do in the coming several weeks over their next 4 or 5 games to get back into that playoff window. And we've talked about this multiple times, whether it's Orange County a couple of years ago, Phoenix Rising last year, or even in the higher division games, if levels of leagues here in the U.S., if you can get into the playoffs, almost anything can happen. Because you look at the run that Orange County did in 2021, all the way to the championship, winning the USL championship. You put these guys in the playoffs, and before, a few weeks ago, we were talking about the injury list of Orange County, and it was just terrible. You had as many guys on the injured list as you did on the game day roster. Well, they're starting to get some of these guys back, and the linchpin to this is going to be Thomas Amon. Again, he hasn't played for over 3 months until 2 weeks ago. He gets back into fitness. He was the leader of this team in goals when he went out. He had 5 before he went out, and that was early on in the season. So you put him back in, you get him in fitness, you get Bryce Jamison rocking and rolling again. I think Orange County has got the tools that they're going to need to get into the playoffs. Just shore up that defense a bit. Colin Shuttler is playing great in net. I think they're going to be studs, and I think they're going to get into the playoffs, and I think they're going to actually move up to maybe that 7th seed and be really, really ready to go here when the playoffs start in not too short a fashion. And with that, that's your Orange County report. Philly, what else we got to talk about before we call it quits on this fantastic Thursday afternoon, buddy?
Well, I mean, we are a soccer show at the very least, so we might as well talk about the big news as far as the U.S. men's national team is concerned. They just got done with their 2 friendlies. We could rap about that, but finally, as the legendary Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson would say anytime he would step into a WWE arena, finally, Pochettino has been announced as the USMNT coach. Took a while, and honestly, one of the worst friendly windows I've seen for the U.S. men's national team in quite some time.
Yeah, to lose to a team that you haven't lost to since Eisenhower was in office. And I mean, I'm old enough, I voted for Eisenhower.
67 years ago, that was, yes.
Right? I voted for Eisenhower.
This is a different candidate team. This is a totally different candidate team. I will say that this is their golden era. They've got some phenomenal players. You could say they didn't have any fight, sure. I think it was the game against New Zealand that bothered me the most. I mean, they score the first goal and they concede in the 89th minute. Look, we're not a soccer nation, but neither is New Zealand. They're a rugby nation. How did we tie to New Zealand? Thankfully, they announced Pochettino right afterwards, because as toxic as U.S. men's national team social media can be, it was downright filthy, a terrible performance. But what are your thoughts on Pochettino? I'm pretty excited, to be completely honest.
I'm pretty excited about it too, because you look at what he did with Tottenham, right? He comes in, Tottenham was a mess over in Europe, and he comes in and he almost takes them to the championship. If he had stayed with Chelsea another year, I know that Chelsea got, they got a little, let's say a little quick on the trigger on that one to release him. But you know what? These things happen in soccer and at the highest levels. And even though he's not going to have the type of practices that he had with Tottenham and Chelsea, where he's seeing these guys every day, where he's kind of beating these guys into his system on a consistent basis, I think what's going to happen is they're going to come in, the national team is going to come in and they're going to listen to him right away just because of his, having him played at Espanyol, having him coach there, having him coached at the highest levels. I think the U.S. national team is really going to take a liking to him and listen to him immediately and get on board.
I've said it time and time again. What did Greg Berhalter do as a coach? He was mediocre at best in Major League Soccer. And sure, he went to Europe. But if it wasn't for his brother being number 2 or number 3 in charge of U.S. Soccer at the time, would he have really gotten the job? And I'm inclined to say no. At the very least, Pochettino does have a fabulous resume. You talk about almost the championship. Yes, he almost won the UEFA Champions League. Had they not run into Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool, might have been a different story. And at Chelsea, I mean, he had an opportunity too where they were the EFL Cup runners-up. So here's a guy who comes in with a great resume, a lot of accolades, and somebody who the players can absolutely respect because of the fact that he was at the helm of Chelsea. He was at Parc des Princes in Paris at the helm of PSG. He was at Tottenham for so long, but he also played at the likes of PSG, and you said Espanyol. And let's not forget Argentina down with Newell's Old Boys. Here's a passionate man. We know Argentinians burn, breathe, and live for the beautiful game. You want passion. You want a guy who's going to get on you, a guy who's going to show his emotions. This is probably the best result that could have possibly happened. Of course, how we not gotten Jurgen Klopp, I think we've all been great at that. But Pochettino, I'm excited. Hopefully he whoops these boys around because, again, a 1-1 showing against New Zealand. I don't care if it's friendly. It's horse poop.
Yeah, they should not have. There should be no interest in tying New Zealand. That is just ridiculous. So, hey, you know what? Catch us on Instagram. Catch us on YouTube on the Empire Strykers page. Catch us everywhere. Download you can catch us on the podcast on your favorite podcast thing. Thank you for listening on KMET 1490 AM radio out here in the Inland Empire. You know what? I'm with you on Pochettino. Let's get after it. He's going to get after these guys, and it's going to be awesome. So subscribe, rate our show. Catch me at tim@soccer60.com. If you want to interact with the show, send me an email. It'll be fun. We can get after it. Philly, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to this weekend's game.